our first keynote speaker for the day, someone who never misses to influence with his strong ideas and thought, our very own Pradeep Soundararajan. Pradeep is co-founder or founder of CEO Moolya Testing and product owner of Bagasura.io. He has served over 200 plus B2B SaaS deep tech companies across the globe in the last 10 years. If you have not read his book, Buddha in Testing, please add it to your reading wish list. I mean, it's worth the talk. His topic for the day is metaphors to help people understand complex things in testing. During the talk, if you have any questions, please send it to the chat section. Pradeep will take it after the talk and address it maybe during the talk as time permits. And as it's a virtual platform, we cannot really have an applause or a clap. So request you to start typing clap on the chat section to show how are you really liking the conference. So now I'd like to welcome Pradeep on the screen. Pradeep.
Thank you very much, Saurabh, and congratulations to all for putting up this virtual conference. And I am having the pleasure to invite you all to my house. So, I was just thinking about how the conference would have been if it was not the virtual one, and we all had to travel and waking up early and getting up, getting ready and catching a public transport or booking an Ola cab or something like that, and then not getting the cab and a whole lot of things, right? And here we are at the peace of our house, and I know we're doing this for all the safety of everyone. So first, I hope everyone is doing safe. Each one of you are keeping your friends and families as safe as you can. And I pray for the betterment of this world, and I really hope that we all get to the point soon where we don't need to, not see each other like this for a long time. But that said, humans have evolved, and as a part of evolution, they've found new ways of doing things. So humans are never going to be blocked. They're going to find ways to do these things. So I'm so happy to connect with you all today, where there are people from different countries. It's not like it's working, the technology is working like this for the first time, but I believe it's been made possible much more, than actually before. So that's what it is. And then here's another interesting thing, right? So when I, sent out the topic, to Sneha, I didn't know I'm going to be the first, speaker. I made this topic to be a very light one instead of like a very heavy one. Or is there something for you to do like a deep thinking to understand any of that I'm going to say today? Absolutely not. You can just turn off your critical thinking. I mean, of course you can analyze, you can question and all of that stuff, but you don't need like your super duper like the high power CPU to process everything that I'm going to say today. So let me just get started off with that. And thankfully Saurabh's intro thing that he did was so short that I got an additional few minutes, which I'm going to make good use of. I'm going to just start sharing the screen. I'm going to share the whole screen, and now I believe, and this is a common thing, right? So we all are so used to asking this fabulous question of, can you see my screen? Can you hear me? So in the comments, a couple of you can say, yes, I see the screen. Yes, I do hear you out, clearly, and that'll help. Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So that gives me a bit of confidence on going ahead and let's say starting off. So once I do a full screen of this, I won't be able to see the chat window. All I just see is what's on my screen. So let's get started. Metaphors to help people understand complex things in testing. So, and then I have this version 1 of the title. So as software evolves, so does presentations. So does these topics. So kind of ever since I gave this title and I've been working on it, I realized that I need a version 2 on this as I have evolved the thought process. So the missing part was the analogies. So in the version 1.1, it's metaphors and analogies to help people understand complex things in testing. So that's what it is. So we've already upgraded our presentation right at the start. Now here's a question for you all. Are we all unique? I can't see the chat, so maybe some of you are saying yes, and some of you are saying no. Now we all think that we are all different, but the way we behave is pretty much like everyone else. And what I see is that we all are trying to learn the same set of skills that is mentioned in the JD. So here's what's happening. Everybody's profile is becoming the same. Everybody's profile is becoming the same. In 2 years' time, everyone is going to mention in their profile that they have this new skill called AI. Right? And just like how they mention, just like how everybody's mentioning today that they also know how to do automation, like that, AI is under a threat already, that everybody is going to say that I also know how to do it, right? And that's how everybody are losing their uniqueness, because everybody's trying to be like everybody else. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but that way we are not giving ourselves opportunities to complement each other. So I strongly feel, from what I've seen so far, is that a lot of learning that's happening, but that's for people who want to upgrade their skills to get the next best job. And I think that the skills needed to get a job and the skills needed to succeed in that job are different. Now, of course, there is an overlap. I'm not saying that, but for someone to succeed in a particular job, they need a very important part of it. Now, testing is a feedback loop. Yeah, we all know about it, so there's no surprise, right? Now, guess who is very bad at it? We the humans. We are so bad at giving and taking feedback. Now, as testers, we're in the job of feedback. So feedback is our job. And do we know how to get the feedback? And do we know how to give the feedback in a way that's actionable? Now, that's something that I don't see people actively focusing and learning. And any good testers that you would have worked with, right? They would be influencers. They would be great influencers. Yes, they know Selenium. Yes, they know APM. Yes, they know programming. Yes, they know this. Yes, they know that. But beyond all of that, they are influencers. And that's what essentially differentiates them from a lot of people. Now, what I observe is that 99% of the JD that I've come across in the testing space does not mention the word influence at all. What are we people in testing without influencing? Now, I know there have been people who have found a bug and they don't know the impact of the bug that they found, so they kind of report it like any other bug. There are people who are finding the same kind of bugs, but are not influencing the system to think about why are these bugs recurring. So I think a lot of people have learned a lot of skills, a lot of tools, and all of that stuff that's mentioned in the JD, but there is life beyond the JD. Now, what's our job? As I've come to understand, is that our job is to people, connect with people so that they get connected better. Now, I believe, and I'm sure a lot of you will also agree to this, is that when people work more closely together, a lot of problems are actually prevented. The whole concept of working together, working along with the product owners, working with the business teams, and the
It's
and the
10:15.
way the concept of agile was being thought about was in such a way that people work together, and hence there is less regression that is required, right? But the way things have been happening is that there is, the regression as a problem. We've not been able to get rid of it. It's been recurring, quite a lot. So in order to connect with people, in order to connect to people as well, communication plays an important role in influencing. Now, I know you all already know about it, that communication is an important skill set, so I'm not going to be stressing about it. Okay, but here is the problem, right? We are trying to educate people who are already educated. Now that's really a hard thing that we are trying to do in our work life. Not all of us around us understand testing the same way we understand, so that creates a lot of chaos and confusion. And the hard truth is that we also are that educated category of people who are hard to be educated. We stick quite a lot to our beliefs, and we are not aware of our biases. We don't acknowledge things that we don't know, and that's where I think where we think we are educated, where we think we know about some things, but we may not be knowing about it. And more important than that, we might be putting a wall around us for getting help, right? Now, here is what's important, is to find the common ground. So communicating with people and influencing them is very hard, and that's where a lot of people fail. Now, if you put in the JD, now why is it that they don't put in the JD, right? Because it's hard, because it's a hard skill, and if they ask for something that's rarely found, it kind of becomes difficult for them to also interview people. And how do you interview people for what's the influencing skills? Okay, how do you interview someone for if they will be able to influence the stakeholders? We ask questions in the interview about, hey, do you know about this? How will you solve this problem? How will you solve this problem? Hey, with the machines, people largely do good, but with humans is where they fail. So if you look at it, finding the common ground, and this is more important, right? So there is, even with the computer, even the programming language, right? So there's a compiler code, and there's an abstracted code. There's an application layer that people can interact with. So humans and computer have been worked in such a way that there is a common ground. So kind of the English that you write in terms of the code gets translated into the computer language. So there's somebody who has thought about it, saying that the computer and the humans need a common ground. Now, what's the common ground between human beings? And one of those things that I've discovered is actually analogy or a metaphor. because now for instance, there's so many people in this conference. They all might be in different contexts, and while being in those different contexts, how can I connect with them is to is to use an analogy that kind of connects with them. So I'm gonna try a few. And I've had a career in explaining testing. By the nature of what I'm doing, I've had a career in explaining testing, and like it or not, I believe when we call ourselves testers, people will ask us a whole lot of things, and we have to keep explaining that. How did you test this? How did you cover this? Are we done? Are we not done? Is this good to go? So I think we testers are like answering machines, and we build sometimes tools, we build automation. Anything that we do in the name of testing is that we are working as an answering machine for a lot of stakeholders, and that's great, right? So that's what I've done in my career, and I want to share with you some of the metaphors and analogies that I've used in certain contexts that have helped me and saved me. Like here's what it is, right? So there was this customer, we were working with a banking customer, and they were trying to squeeze a whole lot of testing into a certain budget that they had. And then we were kind of like arguing over it, and they were trying to push their agenda, and we were trying to say that's not possible, and things like that. And it keeps happening, right? It keeps happening that people try to squeeze a lot of things into the testing, and we don't know to say no, so we feel obliged to say yes. But as influencers, we have to think about ways that in which we can do so. So given that this person had a great banking background, here's what I did. I went to their banking website. I went to their insurance arm of their banking website, and I showed them the insurance coverage plans that they had. And I told them, why is it for this premium you're not offering this? And why is it that for this premium you are able to offer this? You're offering a bigger and bigger coverage as people pay a higher and higher premium. That is how testing works too. We are, in a way, an insurance for you. It's like a feedback and an insurance for you, where if you want a bigger coverage, then you must have a larger budget according to it. You can't try to get this, otherwise your claim will go. Your claim will not be processed. So I can say yes to you, and the claim can be not processed, and you will be absolutely disappointed, with it. And this customer got it like that, and he was, giggling when I opened his own, website, and I gave this example over to him. And then, here's a classic thing, right? We still haven't gotten rid of this conversation of manual versus automated. Oh my goodness. And I also see there is a panel discussion even in this conference. I just hope when my daughter grows up, this conversation has ended. But for whatever reasons, right? Many a time people try to come up with their thought process and actually try to tell me that, hey, Pradeep, someday, testing is going to be fully automated. And there's not going to be a need for the testers. So then I ask a simple question to them, or I give this example saying, like, look, 90% of the flying is done by the autopilot. So did we say that there's no need for there's no need for the human? No. The human is in control of the automation. The human is both the feedback loop to the people building the automation and also using the automation to make travel a much safer and a more beautiful experience for everybody. And that's what it is. Now, when there is a turbulent weather, when something goes wrong, the autopilot disengages and lets the human take over. Now, if we are building culture of automation and testing in such a way that there's absolutely no human touch to it, then when the autopilot fails, um, and the human has to take over, the human would have not had experience to take over. Imagine suddenly putting yourself in a seat where there is a massive turbulence and you have to still steer the plane. That's not going to be quite easy. And people do talk about so many hours of flying experience and all of that stuff. And here is the thing, right? Ever since the lockdown, I see a lot of people starting to cook, including me, right? And a lot of people also doing YouTube videos. And thankfully, I'm not doing it, and I'm also not watching it, right? So one of the things that I discovered is that following a recipe doesn't make one a chef, nor does it guarantee a good food. It just says these are the ingredients and this is the sequence. Now, for ages and even today, now your context may not be that, but I'm saying that there are still people out there running test cases. I'm like, come on, it's 2020 and Corona is trying to take away humanity, and here we are, in the old generation of still making humans write the test cases and run the test cases, and it's not going to result in testing. It is not. It is a very, very shallow form of the checking, and humans should be aided towards a more intellectual, brainial approach to testing. And here's another thing, right? So when this is something I'm actually laughing about, right? So when I immerse myself in the community and a lot of people giving a lot of gyan about this is what testing is, and what I realized is that testing is like breathing. Everyone is doing it, so they think they are an expert at it, right? And then when we get into health issues, and then then we go to a yoga teacher, and then the yoga teacher says this is the way to breathe. Right? Breathe in, hold, slow. We don't do that. We just breathe thinking that this is the way to breathe. So there are ways for us to breathe to improve our health. So like that, there are ways for us to test to make the value of the testing come out a lot more effectively. Okay, here's another thing, right? Large scale front-end automation. I try to give this example of the car. I can afford a certain car, but can I afford the maintenance of that car? And one of the biggest, motivation for a lot of people to pick up a car is that they can also afford the maintenance of the car. So it's not just about, it's not just about the cost of the car. It's about what is the running cost of the car. So like that, I have seen people do large scale front-end automation and paying a very heavy maintenance cost. Now, this is something where people have spoken about, people have shared their failures, or I don't know if they're kind of hesitant to share the failure that they failed something with automation. But what seems to be happening is that a lot of companies are, struggling with it. They've invested to build a Formula One car, and then they realize that this Formula One car takes up so much gasoline, it takes up so much maintenance, and the mechanics that's required to just keep this car functioning is so many people. You should only do that when you can afford it and it doesn't pinch, or you want to do it like a sport. But in reality, large scale front-end automation is like this heavy maintenance cars. Here's another one, right? This is something that I came up with recently of saying that, hey, you know what, I see that a majority of the problems in the majority of the software is because people created a mess and did not clean it up, and it took a really long time to identify the mess, or in order for somebody to clean the mess. It's just not going to be easy. It's just not going to be easy. It's going to be incredibly hard. And think about it, right? These are kind of analogies and metaphors that people closely relate to. And when I shared this, there was such kind of resonance from the people who read it that I was like, wow, I was able to build a lot deeper connection with some people, right? So that's essentially what these analogies and metaphors have been doing. Okay, here is something for the dog for the dog lovers. Have you watched the Dog Whisperer in National Geographic, the Cesar Millan show? And so Cesar Millan is an expert dog psychology therapist. And here's what he does. When there is a dog which is super aggressive and he's called, he comes in, and the first thing that he does is he observes the dog owner's body language and behavior. Because Cesar Millan, after doing this for like thousands and thousands of dogs, he says that the dog, before I correct the dog, I have to first correct the owner, because it's the energy of the 10:30. It's the energy of the owner that's actually getting into the dog. So today, if we look at a majority of the issues in the company, it all points to the culture. If we don't fix the culture issues, then we're going to have a lot of bad things coming on the ground. And if we keep fixing it, it's never going to fix the core. So the most important thing is to fix the owner and the owner's culture, right? And in terms of team sports and diversity, when I see people having the same criteria for anybody entering into their team, I ask them this question: which team sport do you follow, right? And which team sport has all rounders, the whole team being all rounders? Taking the example of a cricket, there are specialists, there are generalists too. So you need a combination of specialists and generalists. But I don't think, this is just my personal opinion, I don't think that today's world is inclusive for the generalists, because we only value specialists. So I think that we need a good diversity, and even in the specialist, there's only one kind of specialist. There's not multiple kinds of specialists. Oh, here is another favorite thing of mine, right? I'm not talking about the smoking part. I quit this long ago. So I'm talking about the obsession, right? Like, we all know that so many bugs that we have found, and we've been proud of actually finding it, we're all supposed to have been caught in unit testing. And I also tweeted about it, in the past, saying I made a career out of finding bugs that I was not supposed to, and I'm really, really sad and ashamed about it. But I can't do much about it, and that's how the whole world was. So when I joined in as a tester, people told me I had to find bugs, so I was finding bugs. Now, I wish somebody had just pulled me aside and told me, Pradeep, your job is to help the company prevent these bugs from happening. And I would have probably written a tool to do unit testing. I would have wanted to coach the developers to do unit testing much better. I would have been an advocate of unit testing. And I see that it's such an addiction that once people get used to the habit of not doing it, they feel like doing it is against their habit. And so I'm not too surprised if the quality of the software is too bad. And then here is another thing, right? A lot of testers, they actually don't know to prioritize. And you would have watched this, what is skeet shooting in the Olympic Games especially, and there's two clay discs that fly, and based on which one comes first and which one is going faster, the shooter picks that one. Now, if the shooter does not pick that one, he has a chance, or she has a chance, to miss both, right? And that's what we are doing in testing. We are picking up a whole lot of wrong problems and trying to solve that. And that's the reason why the bigger problems are going and making us not being able to, shoot at the things that we want to shoot. Now, look about it. Sachin Tendulkar, for people outside of India who probably don't know cricket, I know there are some people from Australia who also know cricket. I just also like to mention that Dean Jones passed away yesterday. I felt really bad about it. But let's talk about Sachin right now. Sachin is considered to be the god of cricket in India, and people wanted him to retire when he was not informed. How about our tests? we're not retiring our tests. We are obsessed to adding tests without removing tests. So I think that we need to be obsessed about also retiring tests that have become useless, and that's not happening. So now that I bring up this connection, a lot more people might be able to relate over to it, right? I also want to talk about this. Now I've not, born as a woman, but I think from my mom, from my wife, I understand, what, periods and, menstruation is. And I can relate that into my life as a tester. And I say that a delayed period and a delayed bill for testing causes a lot of pain unless you're expecting the delay. And even today, so many people, expect to build at certain time, but it doesn't come, and the time gets actually pushed. And I think this is a great way for us to communicate what we are feeling and what we are going through to the world. Now let's play a game. Okay, let's play a game. Okay, so far I've been sharing these analogies and the metaphors. Now you're going to do it, and I'm going to just facilitate it. Okay, so use the comment section. I'm going to minimize my screen, and I'm going to start looking at it, and I'm going to read out, some of the, ones. So I would just give you this, and you have to complete it with a logic. Okay, so I'd say retiring tests is like eating ice cream on a cone. Now, what's your logical, conclusion over to it? So I'm just going back to it. Retiring tests is like eating ice cream on a cone. And you can now try to complete that in the way, okay, enjoy the flavor, before it melts. Okay, slide is not moving on my end. Oops, I'm sorry for that. It's moving for others, and that's how, unfortunately, technology works. But let's, focus on other aspects of it. So retiring tests is like eating ice cream on a cone. If you don't do it fast enough, it'll melt and no longer have the satisfaction. Okay, cool. Eat it, before it melts. Okay, nice. So retiring tests is like eating ice cream on a cone. The longer you take to do it, you're not going to have an ice cream. you're going to have it like a liquid, right? It gets okay. Here's the next one. Okay, front-end automation is like pizza. Front-end automation is like pizza. People are thinking about it. Don't give idea about what is base. Okay, melting ice cream. Okay, that's good when it's hot. Okay, that's good when it's hot. Cool. Do not put pineapple on it. Okay, let's try to give a logical, way. Okay, toppings are most important. It's too cheesy. Okay, it doesn't taste good like how it looks. Okay, if it gets, yeah. Okay, the longer it gets. Okay, pick the veggies first. Okay, let's not eat the junk. Great. Let's not eat the junk. Okay, we'll deliver results before 30 minutes. Okay, that's good when it's on time. Good. Okay, too tempting? Absolutely too tempting. I'm loving this. Slice and dice. Brilliant. Okay, more of it makes it unhealthy. Brilliant. Okay, too much pizza is not good for you. Okay, the only topping matters. Okay, love it with pineapples. Okay, somebody else says that the longer it takes, it becomes hard. And stuffed crust. Okay, too much toppings make it messy. You're right about it. Brilliant. Pizza can't replace proper meal. Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's good. Just a lot of toppings may not make it delicious. Okay, color is also beautiful. Okay, too much toppings will actually ruin it. Fantastic, right? This is just brilliant. Look at the beauty of the ideas that we are actually sharing. Okay, here is the next one. Okay, mobile automation is like a child. Okay, mobile automation is like a child. It's I was actually putting tea in my mouth and I read this. It's unpredictable. Haha. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't cooperate. Fantastic. Absolutely. It's incredibly hard. I mean, web automation is far more easier according to me, right? Raise it with a lot of care. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, have their own world. Beautiful, beautiful. You have so much option to play around. Okay, that's very good too. A lot of tantrums. Absolutely. Okay, always look at his parent. Beautiful, beautiful. That's amazing. I'm just so enjoying this. Want to have their way all the time. Okay, brilliant, right? Okay, demands more. Has a lot of generation gap. You know, that's also beautiful, right? Okay, different behavior every time. Fantastic, fantastic. Different behavior every time. That's beautiful. Okay, that's beautiful. So relatable to mobile automation, right? The way it behaves depends on how you have raised it. Absolutely. Always independent. Yes, wants to be independent. I lost the video. I'm sorry for that. Okay, it gets expensive as it aged. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, not everything could be taught, to this child. Okay, that's beautiful too. Okay, now, here's the last one. Okay, preventing bugs is like running. Preventing bugs is like running. It's tiring. Yes. Now allowed to fall and eat properly. Watch where you step. Okay, brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Okay, brilliant. It's an endless marathon. Okay, keep your app fit. You can't do it properly unless you practice. Okay, that is beautiful. It takes a lot of discipline to run a marathon. You have to move precisely. Okay, running on a treadmill. Preventing bugs is like running on a treadmill in some culture. You're right about it. You run a lot, it doesn't move at all, right? Okay, running is better than waiting. Okay, have a proper pacing and plan. Okay, creating sandcastle. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Facing. It takes a lot of great. Yes, it needs good fitness. Fantastic. So I'm really happy. That was great fun. I'm sure it brought all of us together. It did. Now I think we have so many ways of communicating people. Communicating with people that they can actually connect to. So the next time you are trying to communicate and someone is not getting it or is having their eyebrow raised, switch over from explaining that directly to using metaphors, using analogies that connect with them. Food is a great way to connect with people. I've hardly come across people who don't want to talk about food, right? So food is a great way. Okay, sports are a great way to connect with people, and their favorite characters are a great way. The sports that they're following, the superstar that they're following. So this has been a great awesome exercise for me. So with that, I'm happy that I established this connection. I'm happy that I was able to communicate how beautiful it is to communicate with these metaphors and analogies. And I wanted to share with you the blog that I write if you're interested in the kind of thought process that I've shared with you so far. There's a blog. If you go to moolya.com/deep test, you can discover this. And I'm writing lengthy, deep thoughts only. I've also, published a book. I've been getting some pretty good response of it. And the reason why I also published that book is to make life very simple for a lot of people. I think we have complicated it, and I wish to do my, the body of work that I'm focusing on is how can I simplify a lot of things and make it easy for a lot more people to understand. I hope this has been quite fun for you, and I really thank you for the time, for the time that you've actually shared with me so far. So, if you do have any questions, I think I have like 7 minutes left. If you do have any questions, you can ask, or if you have any other metaphors or what's the analogies to share, I'll be happy to read that out as well. And please keep doing that. Okay, thank you very much. Everybody saying, thank you. Do you have any questions as well? Do you have anything else to say? Do you have anything else to share? Do you have an analogy or a metaphor that you use that you want to share? I'll be happy to discover that. Okay, testing is like salt. Okay, that's a nice one. Okay, testing is like salt. People discover only in the absence of it. People talk about it only in the absence of it, right? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Rishi, for your kindness. Oh, I can't keep saying, what's your thanks, and instead of okay, trying to answer some question or something. So maybe I think then it's a good time for me to hand it over back to Saurabh and give the next speaker some additional time, like the way I got. Okay, could you please share the site again? You mean the blog one? It's here. Yeah, it's here. Okay, fantastic. Cool.
It's 10:45.
It's 10:45. Okay, thank you very much. And I'm giving additional 5 minutes to the next speaker. Okay, Saurabh, you can take over. I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Thanks for the talk, Pradeep. Thanks for the amazing talk. You're full of energy. You kill it like always.